Alrighty lads, welcome back to the second hour of Power Byzantium. For me, this stage of the game is actually more important and cooler, so to speak. I'm going to have more fun. Due to the fact that I've kind of done an opener as Byzantium countless times, and I actually think that a lot of people, they will see the first episode, and they'll want to go it from there alone. And that's fine, people can do whatever they want, but I think if people really want to learn, the follow-ups are actually the most significant. They're the biggest things of interest in my opinion. Now, it seems that we eclipsed Valahia at some stage, because I distinctly remember rivaling them, and then no longer rivaling. But it's very common that they catch up in tech or something like that, and they become a rival again. And we are going to attack them as our next war. So we have a 5-year downtime because I'm about to provoke the Bulgarians. Slightly longer truce than that with the Ottomans, and we're taking their war reparations. War reparations, in my opinion, are worth it, just because it's going to change. It's going to allow us to go into Bulgaria and then go into the Ottomans soon after, but it's also going to help keep his economy down and keep us nice and fat in the purse. So let's start off, guys. We're moving into the second phase of estates, right? Which is we really want to lock everything in. And for me, I wish to actually lock in the advisor cost reduction. We're also getting a little bit more bank. Go. So we have 25 of each. A little bit more bank from the Ottomans, and I'll end up hiring different advisors. In the case of the monopolies, a lot of people talking about in the comments in my first session, are the monopolies good? Why do you take the monopolies, etc.? The ways that they work, for people who don't know, is it gives you 80% of the production income that resource is producing instantly. They have a 10-year cycle though, so you're losing you're losing 20% of that overall production value throughout the 10-year cycle. It's giving you 80% of what you'll gain in 10 years. But of course, naturally, it's most likely that over the course of 10 years, your production would increase, right? Whether it's by taking more resources, like the Ottomans have tons of textiles, for example, or whether it's from getting development. We already got some development in Corinth, if you remember, from an event, and we're boosting dev in my capital, but the production isn't doing anything until the monopoly comes around. So they're objectively worse in terms of finances. But it should be obvious the reason that I'm taking them, and I do take them, and I think they're undervalued. And the reason why is because they give you loyalty at the cost of 0 influence. So they're a really good way to keep your estates happy, and there's no downside. Now let's talk about another thing. You'll see that the Burghers' estate influence just went up. This is just due to the game just not being very good. Somebody was commenting in my YouTube video, like the previous episode, like, wait, why did the influence change by this much? Like, implying that something, I'm doing something deceptive or something like that. Not at all. It's just the fact that these influence things just are unreliable. They don't adjust, and then they do adjust at the end of the month, and so on and so forth. It's just really janky, okay? It is what it is. Meanwhile, we dropped below 10% crownland. I'm not happy with that. I'm actually not sure why that is. What, off the top of my head, what exactly I did. But being under 10% is pretty nasty, considering we're so close. And in that case, I'm just going to do a production dev in my capital city, okay? To keep us above 10% and reduce the punishing nature of that. Being under 10%, specifically while at war, excuse me. Now, we're going to begin fabricating on Venice, because I'm considering Venice to be a pretty prime target. His diplomacy is not particularly good, and it's also time to drop some diplomacy for the first time. So, well, we did grab Muscovy, but I'm going to ally the knights, and that's going to prevent them from raiding us from here on out. It's very typical with the knights that they're going to go from an ally to an enemy, just like this. And we will kill them. We will kill them in the Venetian War. But in the meantime, they're not going to be raiding us. Like I said, Valahia is our next target, moving up towards him. And we have enemy of enemy with Austria. It's very typical that Austria will actually go hostile and abandon Hungary over the PU. That's what's most likely to happen. He could get them for free, but we could potentially use Austria against both Venice and Hungary, and he's obviously a powerful nation. Let's work on diplomacy with him. If we pull Austria and Muscovy, we're going to be safe from any kind of defensive war shenanigans, aren't we? Indeed. So I think that's just about it. Now, what we're going to want to do is provoke the Bulgarians to have them walking into the Ottomans as soon as possible. If you look at a rebel faction and you go to the actual numbers here, the troops, you can see which province they're going to spawn in by which one has the largest amount of contribution to the rebel faction. So you can see Silistria here is at 600. And so we know the rebels, when they spawn, if nothing was to change, they're going to spawn here. So we're going to go ahead and stand in a nearby province, but not there, provoke them, and then go to war. Meanwhile, the Ottomans are going to attack Karaman. That's interesting. He immediately deleted the fort in Sinope. Very cool. It's because he's so broke. And also, he's about to go to war with his only ally, AQ. Interesting. We'll see how it goes. He may be allyless. He'll probably just build diplomacy. I'm guessing Tunis, but we will see. So financially, we are losing a little bit of money. Okay. I'm wanting to hire these other advisors. If we go for this guy here, that could give us radical reforms in the beginning of the game. I would really appreciate those 200 admin points. Alright, so Silistria is clear. Let's just check one more time. Indeed, it is the largest. And we're going to go ahead and provoke, and it's going to be actually 11 regiments. So, what should happen, of course, is the Ottomans should not have military access. That truce reset play, where you wait for him to go to war, and you occupy all of these, the truce reset that we did last session, that also guarantees that the Ottomans do not have any troops here. So the best case scenario is that they actually have a reasonably large amount of troops relative to their broken economy and their weakened nation, and 24 in this case is relatively large, meaning they're not really going to want to reinforce. Naturally, they're perfectly stable. As you can see, no Bulgarian rebels can spawn, but these guys are going to walk over here. The only place that he would be able to reinforce from is Edirne, and the likelihood of him building up like 11,000 troops or more and engaging this from his capital is very, very low. So what we want to look out for is giving him military access, or anybody he goes to war with military access. In fact, I really need to focus on that, because I do have a tendency to just get the 10 relations for free. As in most scenarios, nations will get military access one way or another, and we want to prevent that from happening. So I have a tendency to just immediately give them access when they ask, and I've got to make sure that I don't autopilot myself to death. That is something that I'm known to do. Just be absent-minded. Okay, into Wallachia we go. And, of course, we're worried about these enemies killing our rebels. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Not at all. Let's see here. I see he's actually building a fort in his capital, which is really awkward, because I don't think we're going to get access into his capital anytime soon. So we're just going to have to be really nice and patient. Notice I co-belligerented hers. And the reason why is, of course, because there was no downside. So I may decide to vassalize hers as well. It's a good way to handle this Ragusan trade, which is irrelevant in the early game. It gives us a nice capital fort here on the mountains for when it is that we're fighting other nations in the future. But if you want to have a lot of success, I really advise taking it really nice and slow. You can see I'm being very slow and patient. I will turn the speed up, but my finger is always over, or my thumb in that case, over the pause button for people who don't know. And I'm willing to turn it back down, the speed back down. Oh, interesting. AQ dishonored the call to arms because of his relation with the Ottomans, and the Ottomans are going into Karaman for free. So Karaman has one fort down in the south. This is just going to be an objectively beneficial war for the Ottomans. No resistance at all. And there's the military access that we want to make sure not to give. Give Karaman and the Ottomans can walk through into this territory. Not a good idea. Speak of military access, I see. So they can't walk over to us yet. I was talking about hers. It's got a nice mountain fort there if we're fighting Hungary, Venice, even Austria in the future, or Italians. Okay, this is interesting, guys, because you'll notice that my ruler is 60 years old and my heir is 48. So I'll just throw it out there for people who don't know. At least last time I checked, this event lies to you. You can pay for a 50-50 or a 75-25 and you don't pay for it. The thing is, the community has realized that this is actually a lie and it doesn't matter which one you take. It lies to you. Okay, so you always want to go for this one. And he actually died. Interesting. Now, I was pushing the envelope a little bit longer. We actually got a minor stat upgrade, kind of. Though it's actually... I think the last one was 322. This is 341. Slightly more Diplo. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick my heir. So this is something that a lot of people don't do. Obviously, if he had really good stats, I wouldn't do that. And now I'm going to make my ruler a general. Now, you may find, because you have an elderly heir and ruler in the beginning of the game, is Byzantium. So, for example, our ruler could have died and we could be sitting on like a 47-year-old king with no heir right now, who is also fairly old. But what you'll notice here, if you mouse over this, is we have the Rurukovich dynasty is going to be put on our throne on monarch death. A noble from House Rurukovich succeeds the throne. That's what it says right down at the bottom, because of our royal marriage here. So this is a gameplay mechanic that I seem to engage in, and I seem to see very few other people engage in. Turning my subjects on passive, I see Athens coming over here to be a nuisance. No, thank you, if you wouldn't mind. If he liberates this, they're just more inclined to come over to us. Yeah, so, you know, there's a bit of a meme in my community that I'm the PU king. I've always PU'd like crazy, and actually, dare I say, like nobody else. There are a lot of people who engage in PUs, and PUs in some ways are kind of overrated. It's a nasty event, dang it. But nonetheless, I don't see why not, guys. The fact that he would be Russian dynasty kind of makes up for the fact that it's going to be a complete random roll, and therefore it may not be a very good roll. Solidifying Russian dynasty is really cool. The two orthodox powerhouses, the one in the south and the one in the north, uniting. Could be a really good time. Unfortunately, no blessed up luck here on the siege, and the fort in his capital finishes. What can you do? Smugglers running rampant. You typically just want to buy that down if you can, although it is a nasty event. We're going to go ahead and give this occupation over to Epirus yet again. It's not the first time we've done that. And right now, they're leaving us alone. We're able to do this unmolested, so they have 12,000 troops. I'm just going to slow roll it, take it nice and slow. Engaging this while it's in the mountains is like the perfect way to engage it. Turn this edict off again. So if that's an excellent walls breach, if we're beating him here, then we'll just take this fort and go down. They should perform worse in the mountains. You see their siege ability? Fort defense is much better in the mountains. Okay, in the case of Venice, we're humbly... The highest priority claims are these two, because Byzantium actually has one of the start of their missions, recover the islands here, but they never gain claims on those, right? So recover Greece, you begin with the permaclaims to get that started, and you go from claim to claim to claim to claim to claim with Asia Minor, Coast, Bulgaria, Albania, etc. That's the one that you don't, and we'd like to claim that up and take that if we can, and that means we need CB against Genoa as well. Alright, meanwhile, I'm thinking we insult Venice just to get relations with Austria. We seem to be winning, but not by much. I'd like to get a nice lead. Alright, let's try hard then and put the defensive edict on. Hey, radical reforms, guys. Beautiful. You can see with the Defensive edict that this takes absolutely ages here. It takes him 49 days to make a progressive tick. We'll remove that later. Radical reforms, for people who don't know, when you have a inflation reduction advisor or a trade advisor, you can get this event called radical reforms, and it will give you 200 admin as one of the options with the inflation, or 200 diplo with the trade advisor. And if you have both the inflation and the trade advisor, then it increases the likelihood of the event happening, although sometimes, I think it's like 5 years mean time to happen with both, so we got it pretty quickly. And it gives you the option to gain 200 admin and 200 diplo. So I'm just throwing that out there for people who don't know. Otherwise, we're going to go for the improved relations advisor pretty much all the time. That's absolutely S tier. And yearly prestige advisor is also very good. These guys have no navy, so now my light ships are repaired. I'm going to protect trade while we're at war. More rebels. These Albanian rebels should walk into Venice. Okay, the monopoly on glass, we're going to respect that, guys, because I want this equilibrium to go up. The monopoly on wine, I'm going to remove. So right now we're in this awkward situation where we didn't get the payout, and I don't have production from wine. But due to the equilibrium happiness here, whoa, look at that, that's scary. Let's oversiege this. Oh my goodness me, that's scary. It's general here. Blah here. 544. Let's just oversiege this and be careful. Yeah, the Hagia Sophia giving us the equilibrium here really high, and I'm going to remove the monopoly. As soon as we do that, we will get some income, won't we? From the wine resource. Alright, how is our manpower holding up here? 12,000 out of 16,000, not bad. Beautiful. Okay, just tanking Epirot economy here. Want him to pay for it instead of me. And this is obviously just get hers out of the war. So one of the contributing factors to separate piecing an individual is the overall war score. It's going to affect their enthusiasm. And due to the geography of hers, we should be able to occupy this and sit on this. And that will really disenthuse him. If you wipe his army, it's basically a guaranteed white peace without even taking his capital. But that could prove difficult to wipe his army. You can see the Bulgarian rebels making really nice progress. Yeah, so on the other hand, there is a chance that we could full annex. Let's just test with the vassalize. Oh. Seems as though Wallachia will straight up give up. Let's just test that out for size. Oh, wonderful. Okay, I'm kind of surprised. Fine. In that case, I'm satisfied with that. We've got a friendly Austria, but he remains allied to Hungary. Okay, Hungary did betray Austria. Their attitude should change, and they should ditch the alliance. So let's see. Beautiful. Looking at aggressive expansion, remember guys that we took a defensive war against the Ottomans, which reduces AE, but it was not the reconquest. So our AE is a little bit higher. I'm going to pay the 46 diplo here to full annex. And we're going to take his money. Alright, so in this case, he won't give us all of his money. But 105 ducats is beautiful. Now, Wallachia's capital by default is here. I'm going to have him have one fort. There's no need for him to have two forts, especially this fort actually routes out corruption in the entire state. It's you know, they're both farmlands, but it's perfectly acceptable to have one fort. Two forts is getting a little bit ridiculous. And what I'm going to do is release Wallachia. So this is one of my favorite plays. It's a really underrated play, and I don't see people do this enough. People obsess over a lot of rebel factions, like, for example, the Bulgarians, when the Bulgarians aren't going to benefit us as much as it is just taking the land. The reason I'm releasing Wallachia is, number one, because I don't want to core up the country. I don't want to deal with the instability and the unrest and so on. We've got enough to deal with, keeping our manpower high. But also, we don't actually value the land directly because it's inside of Pest. I don't care about pest trade value for a long, long, long time, 100+ years. But our power projection is just absolutely popping off right now. Wonderful. And Austria changed his attitude with us right when I paced out. Rip. So we should have grabbed that alliance as he was friendly. But he's no longer friendly. I'm not thrilled with that. Interestingly, over here, the Ottomans took all of Karaman's land apart from their fort. Well, this is bizarre. I wonder if that's because it was broke, or how did that happen? You would think you would full annex them. So the Ottomans actually still don't have a single fort. He's still on 24,000. 10% of his income is 1.5 ducats. It's going to be interesting to see. Here, I'm going to pay for this admin point per month. It's going to be interesting to see if he is able to build up his armies more than this. But right now, this is looking like a big success with the Bulgarian rebel faction. Make sure we know where he is before we walk down in this direction. As far as our rivals, Venice and the Ottomans are the obvious ones. Naples' diplomacy doesn't look particularly good, does it? And you know we're going to complete the Bulgarian mission here, giving you claims on Naples. But he doesn't really have enemies. Looks like the Iberian wedding might pop off here. Seems that way. And if the Iberian wedding happens, then that's going to free up our Austrian relation. And he's friendly again. Never mind. Interesting. There it is, boys. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, I would actually like to... Let's see, I'm over my relations. Cancel military access here. I would like to actually rival Hungary. But that would offend Austria. So, yes, Austria no longer values Hungary as an ally. Doesn't that time out really nicely, guys? Okay, so Austria is now... He's hating on Hungary because he wants to PU them. And what I'm going to do with my diplomats is curry favors with Austria. It doesn't do much, but it's worth it. I'm just misclicking a little bit here. Forgive me. Yeah, we're going to curry favors with him. So by vital interesting these provinces, I'm hoping that Wallachia makes a claim up there, just in case you're wondering. But after taking over Bulgaria, we should be able to claim Hungary ourselves if we like. Very good. And after taking over Bulgaria, we'll also have access into the Serbian gold as well. So that's nice. Going to drop Hungary as soon as he is ditched by Austria. Going to drop him as a rival, I mean. Let's drop one of our first buildings here in Constantinople, guys. 0.26 ducats. It's not much, but it's something. We're a very stable nation overall. I'm not going to pay 15 admin and 60 ducats for that. Not at all. And in this case, the Ottoman truce is 4 years away, but the Bulgarians will defect sooner than that, remember, guys. So we're still really serious about our admin points, focusing our admin every day of the week, because it's going to take admin to core Bulgaria. The annexation of Athens is coming up here in a moment. And my plan is to deploy vassalize the knights, guys. But my next war against the Ottomans, we will take a knight core. So you either have to deploy vassalize the knights before you take that province, which can prove to be difficult to get the power to do that. Let's just partially maintain my troops while I'm waiting for this to walk off. And also, let's pacify Wallachia here. You either want to vassalize him beforehand, or you want to never call him to arms against the Ottomans, which will prolong the core, but the core goes away fairly quickly otherwise, and then vassalize him in like 40 years. I really like allying him so he doesn't raid you. I do think it's well worth the relation slot. Just sitting here, and what will often happen is he gets called into arms with Genoan Trade League or Venetian Trade League or something like that, and you're able to... Okay, we'll buy 10 prestige there. You are able to actually kill him. You kill him going from ally to enemy, or you diplo-vassalize beforehand. That's the plan. Now Venice kills our Albanian rebels. Beautiful. We always go for the manpower here, guys. It's tempting to take the tax, but the manpower is just way better in the long run. I'm kind of getting frustrated by these Bulgarians. Okay, they finally have made a move. We should be okay to walk out without killing them. Just taking it nice and slow. Go for the peasants here that have been molesting our country quite badly. It's frustrating. So yeah, as soon as they make an occupation... oh, wow. Speaking of which, rebels killing rebels. Well, that's pretty appropriate. Nice. Thank you very much. As long as they survive, you know, which they are, that's wonderful. Just stay away from them. He should be going up here, right? I mean, saves my manpower from doing it, guys. Beautiful. Fantastic. 5 years. It takes 5 years to defect, is what I was going to say. Alright, now notice Venice is on this island. That's very common for him to be on an island like that, guys, and this is something that you want to be looking out for, okay? I'm going to revoke his military access, and now we've got 190 relations, Athens here, so we're going to annex them really quickly. 100% for free, because of course we have their core, and we're going to have the Athens reclaimed. So we just inherited the Athenian troops, right? There we go. And we seem to be over the limit. We also get the Athens reclaimed, 50 diplo, 10 prestige, wonderful. We get his ships, including 3 galleys, 2 transports. And basically what I was going to say is I'm feeling way more comfortable to attack Venice now, because if we beat him at sea, he's stuck on this island, guys. Okay, that's what you want to look out for. So if we look at his ships, he's got 1 heavy, 7 galleys. Our 19 galleys is looking pretty strong to me. And I don't see why we couldn't beat him up. He now has a much larger trade league, but I still feel pretty confident against that. We would have the Knights ships, so maybe we wait for the Austrian favors. I'm not sure. Speaking of Austria, he's abandoned Hungary, and we're going to go ahead and rival Hungary. That will also incentivize Wallachia to make claims, which he already has. What a legend. Very good. Speaking of Wallachia, he's going to be easier to appease now that Athens is gone. Let's improve relations with Wallachia, so he's giving us that little bit of tribute. We're at 20 out of 20 on our force limit. I'm stoked with that. And our autonomy is actually fixing itself. Very good. We can seize land soon, but you may be hindered by the Bulgarian rebels in your game. If that's the case, then it is what it is. Don't stress over it. We've got Byzantium noble rebels, which just went away. It was just in the occupied provinces. And in my case, this is now my king, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But you can drill him as long as he doesn't die in combat, guys. You won't get the penalty. So, gonna go ahead and drill him. And I think that 5 years is coming up here in a year or so. The Bulgarian situation going off without a pop. Does that make sense? Popping off without speak words. I don't know. Insert words here. He's got 1 more occupation to make, and then we're perfectly comfortable killing the rebels as they're inevitably going to walk back into our country. So, really good. Now, a few different options. This is such a bad province, I might not even state it, guys. And that would really reduce the admin cost to Albania. And then we could actually concentrate development over to my capital, bring it from Ragusa over to my capital. But you can only do that in territories. Turn the edict off in Macedonia. This is wonderful. Very good. Okay, and on that note, we're going to take this more seriously now. We actually want to get rid of these guys because they can become Bulgarian armies if they're still up and running when Bulgaria spawns in here. So there it is, the perfect rebel occupation, and you guys should be able to tell the next move that we're going to make, right? Okay. Looking at my Austrian favors up here, he's got a truce with Hungary. But I'm hoping to both use him against Hungary and Venice. Dang. Hungary pulls France as an ally. That's unfortunate. We'll see how that goes. Also, the Burgundian inheritance is still on the cards. He lost some land to France, but yeah, it is still on the cards. It's going to be interesting to see who it goes to. I'm on a streak in my games of it going to France themselves. If he gets that right now, he's looking really, really strong. Hopefully, it doesn't happen for once. And this is one of the only rebel factions we fought in a long time. This Athenian lightship I just realized we have, let's put him to work in Constantinople for now. Drill. That was a little bit reckless, having my ruler alive in that battle. Sometimes, you know, I'm distracted by trying to do commentary or something like that. I am doing mistakes here and there, but I will point it out. My ruler technically could have died there when we should be using the this Merc general anyway, and it just wouldn't have been worth it. Okay, let's get into different positions here with my drilling army and my 2 different mercenaries, and we're just waiting for the pop out of Bulgaria here. So we did one nice casual war in between, and Valahi is giving us 0.8 ducats. Now, I do want to royal marry him, guys, but keep in mind that my ruler is about to die, which will ruin the royal marriage, and it also gives you heir chance, okay? So we're just going to wait till my ruler expires here, giving us that Rurukovich dynasty. Finally, our cores finish up. Now, these guys, of course, are inside of Thrace, and we really value the Constantinople trade. Definitely full stating that. And in fact, now is the moment in which we should be able to embrace Bulgarian. No, I'm wrong. They've only got 15 development, so we'll have to deal with Bulgaria first. The reason we want to embrace Bulgarian as a culture, that's a well-worthy culture of embracing, in my opinion, or promoting. But as soon as we do that, because it's Orthodox, it will get that 10% tax, manpower, etc. from here. And I guess let's go ahead and seize land. My estates are all going to be fairly unhappy, but it's only the burghers that really matters. Just do that while we can, up to 20 crownland. It's okay to run a deficit if you have some money, because we're going to sell crownland in the future, right? We're going to become more affluent in the future, and the stronger you get, the more this is going to benefit you. But I think for me, I'm going to turn these autonomy edicts off, as the autonomy is doing way, way better. Even if we go to war due to our empire government rank, it's going to be going down now that we have over 20 crownland. Okay, in this case, we can either buy base tax or spend manpower. I see the future being pretty chill here, and I'm going to spend just over 1,000 manpower. So it's seemingly free, right? Ottomans are still on 24,000, and his ally is Ramzan. Okay, nothing crazy. Very good. In other news, let's think about... I want one more claim against Venice. We could go straight into Serbia after Bulgaria, okay? But we need a claim there. As far as I'm concerned, Serbia's open and free for the taking. Matthias here may have a maybe balanced or militaristic type, and he might want to go into Serbia. So he does have a truce with him for now. We would like to grab as much as we can, but, well, not really. It's just the gold, guys. We just want the gold. I say as much as we can. We don't care about Ragusan clay, and we actually do have missions to go up here, and we get permaclaims. Yeah, it would just be convenient to box Hungary out, that's all. Just prepping the claim there. But we're definitely going to use the Valahian CB against Hungary. That's perfectly suitable. It's provided if we do attack them at all. France is definitely stronger than Austria is at this stage. Oh, it seems like Austria's been... Wow. Okay, this is a bit concerning. This is a bit concerning. Let's see. He's not rivaling... Interesting. So what can happen is that your subject can give access to somebody like Theodoro. And I suggest that the Ottomans or somebody in that alliance could actually get military access all the way into this territory. That's really kind of a little bit intimidating, but that's exactly what I was about to say. Bulgaria is very close to spawning, and there it is. That's a job done. That's what I say over on my live stream. That's a clapper in chat. Okay, wonderful. There it is, Bulgaria up and running. And in 13 days, we're going to dial this. As soon as my diplomat has arrived, Turks driven from the Eastern Balkans, more monarch points. Those little hidden bonuses to Byzantium popping off. Wonderful. And Sofia is usually the largest dev. It is indeed. We're going to make that the war goal. If I can find it. There we go. Now, he got 1 tick of garrison here, but it's very low garrison. Should fall pretty quickly. As it's under 100, if we make it there before the end of the month, then I believe we one-shot it. We do. Look at that. Perfect timing. The first of the month is when they reinforce, so we did officially make it there. Very good. And I'm prepping my claim against the Serbs. Venice is now not exclusively on this island. It's a shame. We kind of lost our opportunity there. Bulgaria hires a mercenary stack. Sometimes, Bulgaria spawned in right at the end of the month, guys, so there's nothing I can do. Sometimes you can take them out incredibly decisively with 0 resistance whatsoever, but it was the 27th when they spawned in, and my diplomats weren't ready, so that's what happens. But wonderful. 1 month their capital. And we're going to unequip my ruler. Go in with the mercenaries and follow through with our regular troops here before his morale improves. Wonderful. Nice and easy. So from my experience, guys, looking around, you know, I'm not trying to be too competitive or unkind. There's the Ottoman truce. Didn't that time out perfectly, guys? Taking the war reps, well worth it. Yeah, I don't see other games like this, guys. From my experience, when I see people play Byzantium, it's pretty scrub out here. A lot of people really supportive in the comments and stuff like that. I appreciate you. I'm not trying to be combined, or I'm not trying to be nasty or too competitive or something like that, guys. But you have to admit, it's 1459. So the reason I'm doing this is I want to show you guys how good... Hang on 1 second. What we'll do is promote Bulgarian culture. So nowadays you get slightly increased coring speed with a promoted culture. Boom. And just like I said, 10% tax production, etc. And manpower due to our estates bonus. My crown land went up a little bit. That's because my influence is still not that high and my crown land is low. Fantastic. And the Ottoman truce comes up. So... here's where we hypothetically wreck them. We're pretty competitive in terms of strength. I was going to say that I want you guys to see the best of the best. Like, nothing we've done here is that crazy. It's not out of this world. You can do it yourself, and you should be doing it yourself. None of this, you know, it's fine to be casual, but I'm just calling it out is all I'm saying. You can be casual and still use some of these plays, you know? You could be a few years behind, or you could be in worse shape, have some debt. All of that's fine, but I want you guys to know what's up, so... Meanwhile, taking over the entire Asia Minor coast. You can see why we're focusing our admin. So the Ottomans out-military tech us. If we're smart, we're going to want to wait for this technology. But the Ottomans are currently... on Trebizond, you can see. So let's think about this. Obviously, much like in the beginning of the game, we have a decent amount of capital. Let's see, I still don't have professionalism. I've got a tiny little bit of professionalism that we drilled there. We could hire another mercenary stack if we wanted to. And I'm looking at this 2 siege perp. He also originates from... here, so they're on tech 4. The way to do this, of course, is to make their capital the war goal. So it's going to be easy in that sense. Let's see. I'm going to go over my force limit. Let's go up to 26. So we actually outnumber him. Okay. Now, of course, if we waited for a few more favors with Austria, we could call Austria in. Let's think about this. He's going to have AQ and he's going to have Ramzan. Maybe we should just wait. I typically am able to pull this war off with ease. But I'm actually feeling pressured here to win in the next 15 minutes, guys. I'm not going to lie, during this hour of power. That's the only issue. What I normally would do is just really slow down, really think about this. But I think what I am going to do in actuality is just YOLO, okay? So let's go for a military advisor, one that's actually going to be somewhat useful. Turn my maintenance down briefly, guys. Remember that initially I'm just going to go for this fort here, and he can't cross the strait because we win at sea, okay? So we could even start the war with lower maintenance. Yeah, I'm not feeling these advisors, but I want to buy the monarch point here to tick up to 5. Alright, let's start this off. So, as you can see, we have the claims. And the capital core nowadays still gives you a claim, guys. A regular claim. You don't need to use reconquest. We're going to make Adern the war goal. Let's go. Let's go to war. There it is. I'm going to turn my maintenance down. And I'm going to blockade the strait. And this war is basically more profitable than it's going to cost me, if you know what I mean. In the sense that we're looting and blockading him. And I'm just going to chill. Length of war him. So let's see, because he's fighting the other war, he doesn't have military access as of right now, which is good. Turn the speed up to 4 so this doesn't take absolutely forever. And we'll just wait to acquire the war goal and wait to tech up our military. Of course, the peace deal that I want is the entire Asia Minor coast. That's what I want. Now, because we made this the war goal, it should have been the highest dev. It's 16. I imagine it's the highest dev. It will be reduced cost when we occupy, and we might be able to take that as well. We'll see. Or I might want to take money from him. No military access, because it's going to give the Ottomans access as well. Not that they don't have access while they're at war, it's just, there it is. So he can actually walk all the way around, alright? So this is pretty serious business, for sure. It's a serious business war. But by the time he comes here, you can see he's still on Trebizond. We should have technology and so on ourselves. Although he is way stronger than us at Tech 5. Hey, military points, very nice. So the play to beat this, you can see the strategic value of his capital, guys. He has no 1000 modifier because he doesn't have a single fort on Anatolia, right? Really nice. So at this rate, we wait, and you can see I could take that if I want as well. One thing we have to take seriously is the potential Muslim coalition. I'm going to use my diplomats to improve with the Mams. Wow, the Mams are friendly. Now you tell me they're friendly. Too late now. Think about potential Muslim coalition, so Crimea, just max relations with them. And I'm just linked to warring and hurting the Ottomans at this moment. That's all that we're doing. My plan is to basically bum rush him. If I see him moving over to Theodora, you can see their armies and where they are located. If he has a stack on Theodora, I'm going to bum rush over the strait and just take whatever I can get my hands on. That's what I plan to do. He can't walk over the strait right now. And I'll maintenance up. 6 ducats a month, guys. Pretty expensive stuff, but it is what it is. Let's actually, what we can do is let's send some of our light ships about to actually provide some vision for us. Feeling a little bit dark right now. Okay, there we go. We can see a decent portion of his troops. He's up to 30k, and there's the big 21. That's what we're interested in. So what's he going to do? Because he can walk all the way into our territory. That's why I turn my maintenance up. Really hoping he just goes for Theodoro, but we'll find out. Could definitely bring some pain to us, there's no doubt about it. Okay, I'm beginning to feel like he's out of position enough. He seems to be going for Theodoro also. Let's bum rush him. Just let the carpet siege begin. Remember, we're dealing with AQ and Ramzan, but their troops are pretty few. Half price. Half price. Production efficiency advisor. 15 prestige. I'm going to take that. It's really nice. Okay, slow and steady wins the race, guys. We've taken his one and only fort, so this is going to hurt him, right? For sure it is. Let's go. Destroy them. Most of the army is sitting on Theodoro, just how we like it. Fantastic. Let's just go out to Ramzan, guys. We may take that if we're lucky, because of the blockade and such. So the Ottomans have his galleys over here. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna go naval barrage Ramzan to get that war score. Base race in the Ottomans. He doesn't seem to have tapped into his Ottoman siege ability for this age. Awesome. We've kind of slowed him down because he would normally have multiple trade centers, that kind of thing. In fact, he does actually have it. I think you need 3. I forget. I don't know. But it slowed him down, is all I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm both sort of sticking together and just gently, meticulously sieging down provinces. I don't want to spread too thin and run into the AQ stack. Slow and steady wins the race. I should always leave at least one ship in the strait here, guys, even though the strait is, to me, it looks easy, right? It's not competitive. We still want that light ship there to just prevent them from being able to manipulate their troops in and across the strait. So if he came over here, for example, we don't want him to just come over the strait. The AI, actually, it's a little bit of a misconception, because the zones of control are quite complicated if you don't know how it works. The AI just absolutely breaks and cheats and walks wherever they want. I'm sorry to report that, but there's a sort of debate going back and forth where, again, naval barrage this. You say, the AI cheated, and then people say, no, you just don't know how the zones of control work. Well, both often is the case. The AI does cheat and not follow the rules, unfortunately. It is what it is. We still have our admiral alive. And these guys are getting a little bit frisky. So, try to play it up at sea here. Neither of us have galleys in this engagement. A little bit awkward. But you can see our war score going up and up and up, which is really good. Just consolidate our ships back together. Ramzan will be great war score if we can acquire that, right? So I will throw it out here, guys, that you can see the Ottomans are about this similar strength to us. They're slightly stronger, of course, because of all of their OP advantages. But of course, as a player, you should be able to overcome them, guys. And even if it just means, really, much like the First War, going into debt, you should be able to overcome them. And I really recommend doing it. Don't let them get out of control any longer. You have a really nice advantage here, right? Having his capital, whether they actually have, you know, one or multiple forts in Anatolia. Leaving his capital there is the war goal. It's a really nice way to kind of secure a victory. If he wasn't at war with Theodoro right now, he wouldn't have military access. And, you know, obtaining the capital and the ticking war score, it really makes things go a lot more smoothly, even if you just want to have, or even if you're just able to have sort of a partial victory, right? You might not get the absolute ideal dream victory, But many of you guys, if you do this initial play on the Balkans, you're feeling really good, going for the gold next, right? That's lined up. And you just get a small win over the Ottomans, you're going to be feeling nice and satisfied. But we're going in for more than that. More, more, more. Occupying everything we can. Let's keep an eye on this. Make sure... Hey, there's some professionalism. Excellent. And with that in mind, guys, we're up to 2.8 professionalism. I'm going to respect that from now on. So mercenaries are a no-go as of right now. Now, I was going to say, you just want to keep checking to see that he doesn't take the Ottoman siege ability, because they will siege this down in a matter of months, guys. If they, like, you won't even be able to walk over there if they do get the Ottoman siege ability. I'm going to partially respond for this right now. Okay, we're doing a lot better in our mill, and I do care about professionalism now, so this is going to give us 1 professionalism. Beautiful. Look at that roll. Not bad. And that's going to be our general, because technically we don't have a general. So I'm happy to just get a general there. Help out in that engagement. And we have him for when we need him. AQ has 5k, you can see them there. The Ottomans still fighting Theodora, who's at 21. A little bit nerve-wracking. Hopefully we beat him in Ramzan before they come round. As much as I want to defend this, let's occupy the rest of Anatolia. And it looks like in terms of the hour of power, the time remaining in this game, things are timing out pretty nicely. It's not a full annexation, of course. So I plan to ignore AQ. But he's about to be fully occupied. So I just want to throw it out there that if you were waiting for a better opportunity, you know, when the Ottomans were not sitting on Trebizond or anything like that, guys, you could be doing other things right now, like attacking Serbia or even Venice, right? You can see we got the favors of Austria. So if you can't go straight in against the Ottomans, don't stress, but you want to keep punishing the Ottomans so that they don't really keep making gains. Nice, we scared them off here, fantastic. You don't want them to be making gains, if that makes sense, while you're making gains. You want them to really diminish in size and strength. And the best thing to do is to go for him when he's trying to expand, right? Just because you're fairly similar size, so his troops are distracted. Meanwhile, he pieced out Theodoro. If this wasn't such an epic fail siege, we should have what we came for, just because it's not a full annexation. So there's no way we're going to get AQ out. It's all about this here. This should be it. Let's see. 92 war score. And he doesn't quite quit. Yikes. Okay. Just need a little bit of length of war. So I know now that his stack is walking about wherever it is. So it's a little bit concerning. But time is on our side. Deal with some of these fleet. Got a nice naval advantage. Winning in both locations. Very good. And there it is. Wonderful. So isn't that nice, guys? Looking at the aggressive expansion here, we can see Janda, Serbia, Ramzan, who we have a truce with. We got Dalkara, hers we have a truce with. AQ we have a truce with. Karaman and the Ottomans. So definitely something, but well worth it. We're not too worried about that. Diplomacy is already pretty good with the Emperor and Muscovy. A lot of that we have a truce with. Seems as though that's over 100 overextension. I was not coring the Bulgarian cores because they were his cores at the same time. So a little bit brutal, but I do not have regrets. We're overextended here, unfortunately, guys, but it is what it is. That's fine. There's our mission completed. Beautiful. Keep trucking on. So what we should try to do is pick off Jandar, if possible, and that would give us a truce with Dalkara. as well. Mamelukes are still friendly. I'm going to go ahead and drop that alliance 100%, and the reason why is because the future wars are going to reduce aggressive expansion with him, and it's increased relations, so we don't need to worry about keeping our relations up with him as much and so on. So looking really, really nice and safe from the coalition. You can see Triumph of Asia Minor Coast available here for the nice prestige. Prestige is capped out. Army Tradition is doing fine for now. It tapers off pretty quickly. So I actually like to store this in the bank and use it when I see fit. But otherwise, wonderful. Isn't this wonderful, guys? Absolutely killing it. So in the meantime, we do have to deal with a little bit of pain now because we went over 100 overextension. I definitely recommend slowing down just a tad, but I would definitely go for Kosovo. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're 2 over our force limit, and the finances are starting to feel the pain. But definitely, as developing is more plausible, we could say that we could dev up to 25, and we're definitely in a sell seize loop, aka we sell down to 15, seize back up to 20. We're definitely in a sell seize loop now, so this is going to end up giving us like over 300 ducats if we core these up. Okay, if our financial state improves, then it's going to give us more for selling. So I'm going to start just basically running a deficit into debt. It's going to cost us a little bit of inflation, unfortunately, but I like this advisor setup right now. I'm not going to change anything, and yeah, we will make money in the future. You can see we're already up to 60% control in Constantinople. It's just a matter of improving our trade power, pulling stuff in. Karaman is a really interesting nation, aren't they? Look at that. So a lot of different options, but it should be obvious that the next move is to go into Serbia and take that gold mine. This gold mine is going to be worth about 0.5 ducats, even if, it's devastated, even if you don't develop it anymore. We'll state it up, and that's half a ducat right there, but it could be many, many more ducats in the future once we've set it up. So with that in mind, that times out pretty nicely for our hour. If you want this series to continue, then continue to show me the support, guys. I really appreciate particularly the comment activity. Like what more can I expect from you guys? I can't control the YouTube algorithm or anything like that, but I really appreciate you guys watching and the support on the previous session. If you want to see this continue and to see the blistering rise in pace, speaking of which, we just became a great power, guys. What do you reckon? Not bad. 61? Not bad. The blistering pace, we should be able to wreck Venice. Look at this. With the favours from Austria and potentially even the Mamelukes if we curry with him next. Life's looking good in the hood. Wonderful. So, yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.